Hello everyone. Welcome to the third part of our PowerBI.com or Power BI service series. In this video, we are going to discuss about uh, how to refresh this report, how to schedule refresh a report while installing the gateway, which is important for schedule refresh. What all processes are there? That all options, that all steps we are going to discuss in this video. Let me share. So I have my report. This is my report, which we have seen in the last video, where we have seen how to provide access, how to publish this report, and workspace level, report level accesses, different types of roles we have discussed. Today, we are going to see how do we publish and make sure this report is auto refreshed without any manual intervention. Now, before publishing this report, there are important steps which we need to follow. The aim of this video is gateways and connections. What do you mean by gateway? How gateway works? What do you mean by gateway? In order to auto refresh this report, it is important. It is important to download gateway. Now, what do you mean by gateway? Gateway is just a connection. It's a kind of connectivity medium. So whenever you want to refresh this any specific report, the data is coming from a certain data source. Now, if I specifically wanted to explain in detail, how does it look like, why this gateway is important, let's have a little glance. Now, okay, so just a moment. This is assume this as a report. Now you want to publish this report, and this report is stored somewhere in your desktop. Now, somewhere this is stored in a desktop. The data coming to this report might be stored in your desktop. So this is our desktop. The report is stored on the desktop, whereas this report, somewhere the data is coming from. Maybe it's a desktop data. Maybe the data is coming from a cloud, which is a cloud connection. Maybe the data is coming from any certain database. This is a DB, certain database. So if multiple sources are there, it is very difficult for that report to automatically refresh it. So how do we refresh it? Once we publish this report to the Power BI service, this is our website, the powerbi.com. If we publish a report to this specific website, the data sources has to be connected to this website as well. Even though we publish a data model, we publish it at single glance. Now, if you see here, if I log into the Power BI service, whenever we publish a report, along with that report, a data model is coming, the semantic model. This is our workspace, and in this workspace, there is a report and there is a semantic model. Now, there is an option here, refresh now. So if you simply click on this option, how this semantic model will assume where the data is coming from. Okay, we have published this report from our desktop. At that instance, whatever data it has, it will take or it will capture that data. But whenever the data is changing, assume this report has changed. Whenever the data is changing, the background data is changing. For a developer, every time he need not log in that report, open that report in the desktop, refresh. There is an option here in the ribbon bar which is called as refresh. So we need not open this report every time, manually refresh it and republish it. It is not recommended. There is an option here, automatically you can refresh this semantic model. But to keep this semantic model active, that means wherever the data which is associated with the report is coming from, it has to connect with the Power BI website. Now, in order to connect with that Power BI website, there is a connection which is called as a gateway. This is our report which is stored in the desktop. This is our website, and there are multiple data sources here which are associated with this report. So if you want to publish this report to website along with data sources, you should also automatically install a gateway. The gateway is not automatically installed. There are multiple steps we need to follow. The gateway is just a connection between your desktop and website, which acts like a connectivity medium, which will grab the data from the multiple data sources. These are our multiple data sources, and refresh that data whenever the data source get refreshed. Now, there are multiple options. You can auto refresh that report, or you can manually refresh that report. But prior to that, gateway is important. This is our gateway, which connects our website and which connects our desktop from the local environment and multiple data sources. Now, how do we install a gateway? If you open this Power BI website, the Power BI report, in this report, whenever you log in, you can see here, whenever you log in, there are options here. There is an option called as view account. So it is navigating you to the Power BI service only. Either you directly log in the Power BI service, or else you have an option here. Once you visit this specific website, go to your login. See, there are options here. Go to your login. There is an option called as setting here. So multiple options are there. Now, where do we get this gateway download? There is an option called as download here. There is an option called as download. You can get a downward arrow. Once you click here, there is an option called as data gateway. If I click here, see, it opens in a new website. Let this open. Okay, it's loading, it seems. Yeah, this is opened. See, it will ask you, once you open this particular gateway website, the URL, connect to on-premise data sources with Power BI Gateway. Now, keep your dashboards and reports up to date by connecting your on-premise data without the need to move the data. So every time, it is not recommended to manually refresh this. Either you can use this Power BI Gateway. So whenever this specific report, the report which we have done in the desktop is connected to a cloud, usually it is automatically coming, the data is automatically coming, but still there is a requirement of a the gateway here. Gateway acts an intermediate medium between your sources and the website. So once you open this website, there are two options here. One is standard mode and one is personal mode. See, either you can use the personal mode, which is also easy, but it is not recommended to download personal mode every time. Only if you're working on your own reports, you are the sole purpose. I mean, your sole owner, your sole purpose is to work on your own reports only without any other person need. That means you can download this personal gateway. But it is always recommended to download the standard gateway. Why? Because in case if you have published a report and you are the owner, now, if I click on this semantic model, go to the settings. Here you can see I'm the owner. I have published with this email ID. I've published it. Maybe if I'm leaving an organization, the data which I have published, maybe this gateway which we have installed. Whenever I leave this organization, this email ID would be blocked. So if you download the personal gateway, the complete system will block. Accepted if you're the only person you are working, yeah, you can always go with this personal mode. But if you download the standard mode, you or any other person who is working in any company can actually access that without any problem. So this gateway has two. One is personal and one is standard mode. So recommended is standard. If you're the only owner, if you're the only person who are working, you can go with personal mode as well. So for now, what we'll do, we'll try to download the standard mode. So it will take some time. It's around 550 MB, the complete gateway installation, the exact installer file, the exe file. So I have downloaded it at my end. Let me open this. Now, once it is downloaded, this is how you'll get. Just a moment. This is our gateway installation. We need to double click on it. Somewhere around 500 MB file it is downloaded. So once you double click on it, try installing this process. All the steps are followed. So it will usually install it on the C drive, your program files. You have to select the terms and conditions accepted. Let it download. So usually it takes some time. If you're installing it for the very first time, it will take some time. The standard gateway or even your personal gateway, it will take some time. Now, once this installation is done, we need to set up the process, the setup of the gateway, from where our data source, from where our data files are coming, the exact source of that report, and then we can schedule refresh the specific report. Let it install completely. Okay, so the installation is done. See, once the installation is done, it will prompt a new window. Now you have to mention the email ID which you're using for the Power BI service, the same email ID which you're using for your Power BI service. So it should be a school or work email ID, not your personal email IDs. Because usually while creating an account, personal email IDs are not recommended for the Power BI service or powerbi.com. Now I'll mention that same email ID here. Let me click on sign in. So it will ask you for sign in. Okay, once it is signed in, say there are two options here. Now let me minimize this. There are two options here. One is the register a new gateway on this computer, and second one is migrate, restore, or take over an existing gateway. So if you have already installed a gateway, you can use the second option, but default it's a register new gateway. You're installing it for the very first time. Let me click on next. Now here it will ask you for the name. You can give any random name. Let me give it set a name, KSR gateway. And there is also a recommendation. It is always recommended to use a recovery key, just like a password. So whenever, if you feel this gateway is not working, you can relog in this gateway when it is completely installed with this password and the gateway name and your credentials, and you can restore it maybe if the gateway is not correctly working. So let me configure it. Now the process is, see, if I click here, there is, if you can see here, the gateway and cloud connection refresh option. In the gateway and cloud connection, there aren't any specific gateways correctly installed. That is the reason you cannot see anything here. If you scroll down, there is an option called as refresh. This option is grayed out. Why? Because our gateway installation is not completely done. Now, once this complete installation is done, this is the window which you would be getting. The ready options are there. Now you can see it is supported by Power BI. It is supported for the Power Platform environment also, and it is also supported for some Azure analysis services and cloud-based services. So for that, you need to again reinstall a new gateway in Azure. Now you can see in the status, you'll get these options. Service settings, you can restart this gateway whenever required. There is a diagnostic. Network connections, the secure connection should be always checked in HTTPS. These are the custom data connectors which are installed in this location, and the recovery keys. So once this is done, let me close this. See, the refresh option is not enabled here. The reason why, because our gateway is not correctly or completely installed. Earlier we didn't had any gateway. Let me refresh this option. Let me refresh this Power BI desk, the Power BI.com, the Power BI service. Once it is refreshed, you will get that refresh option enabled. Let me go to this gateway. So you can see there are two different gateways installed. The gateway which we have installed is the KSR gateway. Let me scroll down. This is the KSR gateway. So every time whenever you install any specific gateway, so it is always recommended click here. Our this specific report which we have published, this report is coming from two different data sources. One is a CSV file and one is the Excel file. So it has to connect. I mean, the gateway has to connect to the data source. Click on this add to gateway. So it will ask you, you can randomly give any connection name. So how many connections are there? How many data sources are there? That many connections you have to create once the complete installation of gateway is done. Now I can give any connection name, KSR connection 1. You'll get the path from where that data is coming. Automatically the path is detected. See, here you have to mention the authentication. Now authentication is bit confusing here. Always recommended is go with Windows. There's only one option, Windows. See here, for Windows username and password, you should mention your own system's username and password. The laptop or desktop which you're using, that particular laptop or desktop username and password you should mention. Then only it will work properly. Now how do I verify the username and password? Go to your search bar, mention CMD, the command prompt. Once the command prompt opens, see, you can write who am I. It will prompt the name. Get this name, paste it here. So it is asking you for the password, whatever password we need to mention, or the password which you have set up for this system. Let me come down. The privacy level should be organizational. Let me click on create. There is some error. Let me see what is it blocking now. If I see this, it's coming from CRM table. Let me see if that data is there. Okay, the data is not present at this location. Let me mention the correct path. I guess the CRM table is somewhere moved out to a certain folder. Yep, this is the folder. See, now you have to copy the path, the complete path, the same path. Get this path name, go to your setup, clear, mention it here, skip down. Where is it going wrong? Okay. Either the data source is inaccessible, a connection timeout occurred, or data source credentials are invalid. Fabric, everything is looking fine. Let me see where is it going wrong. I go down to gateways. Because there were two gateways installed. That could be the reason it is giving some error. Now, let me add this gateway, give it a name. The folder is missing. Let me go back, get this folder path. See, you have to mention the exact folder path from where the file is coming, and then mention your name. The administrator name you have to mention, the password. Please verify the data source configuration and the data source administrator to troubleshoot this issue. Okay, let me see if there is some issue at my end. Let me go and transform data. I guess this report is not detecting the exact data source. So that is where it is causing the problem. Let me go to CRM info. Let me change the folder path here itself. Browse this folder, this file. Click on OK. Looks good. Sample superstore is also looking good. Bridge table is also looking good. Let me apply the changes. See, important thing here is the path is somewhere here itself. A file path is not correctly updated in this report. So that could be the reason which is giving me an error. I've changed the path in the source itself. Let me close this. Cool. Let me republish this. Okay. This is our workspace. So it is asking me to replace this existing file, which is already present. Let me go to this workspace. See, it was last updated on 18th of March. Now we are republishing it. Okay, the file is published. Okay, connect to go to settings, ask the owner. Okay, now the question is, let me refresh this page. Now you can see it has updated to the latest date, 26th of March. At what specific time we have re-uploaded this report. Let me go to semantic model settings, gateways. Our gateway is installed. Click on add to gateway. Let me see if it is connecting now. Windows. Okay, I guess it was able to connect. The username and the password. Yep, it worked. So the issue was with the data source, which is not correctly updated. Now, again, we have two different tables associated with this report. Click on the different table. The same way you have to create a new connection. I've created a new connection. Somewhere it is connected to this folder. The same process again, username, and I need to mention the password. Click on create. Two connections, that means two data sources are there for this specific report which we have published. Now you can see earlier it was coming in red, now it is clicked to the green mark. Connect to that specific gateways which we have installed. Now click on apply. See, once apply is done, you can scroll down. This refresh option which was grayed out, it is enabled. That means whenever a gateway is installed, you can schedule refresh your report without any manual intervention. This is automatic refresh. This refresh option, if you click here, open this or maximize this, you will get an option called as on. You can set up your reference frequency, the refresh frequency, how many times you want to refresh this report. So it is not recommended for the user to every time go back to your desktop and republish this, refresh all the pages, refresh all the data sets and republish it. You can automatically schedule refresh whenever you publish a report from the Power BI service itself. Now, once this refresh option is kept on, you have options here, weekly or daily. Now you can select weekly, how many days in a week you can select. You have an option, you can check it out. No, I'll go with daily. You can add a time, at what specific time you want to refresh this. You have options. See, here in minutes there are only two options, either at that specific time or else at that time and 30 minutes. So 12 hours 30 minutes, and you can schedule number of times. Now here, how many times you can refresh or how many times you can keep this time. See, here comes the picture of your Power BI Pro and Power BI Premium. Now, in order to get some additional insights, what do you mean by Power BI Pro and Premium? See, usually you can open a new tab. Once you open a new tab, Pro versus Premium, you'll get some idea. Pro versus Power BI Premium. If you mention this, the very first website, pricing and product. See, here everything is clearly mentioned. How many or what is the exact amount which we need to pay and what are the features. See, if I scroll down, see this is pro, this is premium, premium per user and premium per capacity. If I scroll down, for a pro it is 8 refreshes per day, for a premium it is 48 refreshes per day. So you can schedule how many refreshes you want. If at all your workspace is a premium workspace, you can schedule 48 times a day. If at all it's a pro, you can schedule 8 times a day. Now let it keep to 12:30. See, here it is asking you send refresh failure notification. That means if this report refresh, the dataset refresh is failing, whom shall it send a notification to? default it is semantic model owner. That means whomsoever have published this report, I have published this report, I'm the owner of this report, I will default get a notification whenever report refresh is failing. If report refresh is not failing, you will not get any specific notification. Just to keep you posted that report refresh has failed, it will send an email. Apart from me, I can mention some other emails from the same KSR domain. So if I mention it, I can get that same emails from the same KSR domain, all the KSR emails. So whomsoever is a part of that same workspace or the same domain, you can mention their emails here apart from the semantic model owner. If you don't even want any notification to be sent, you can simply uncheck both the options. So default, I'll keep it to the semantic model owner, click on apply. So this is applied, automatically report refresh will happen. Now this is automatic refresh at 12:30, the report will automatically refresh. Apart from refresh, there are multiple options here. There is an option called as data source credentials. So from where this data is coming from this file, this data is coming, I mean, this report is associated with two different data sets. That's why we created two different gateway connections here. You can see the two different gateway connections here. The same options from where that data source, I mean, the data is coming from, the data source credentials, you can mention or you can get the table details here. Now refresh, we have seen that option. Now for this video, we are going to see some optional settings which are required for the schedule refresh. If I come down, see there is an option called as large data set. Somewhere we have discussed in the first video, while creating a workspace, it is always recommended to create a large data set or workspace, large semantic model workspace. That means whenever the data for that report is very large, it will automatically improve the performance of refresh. So this should be automatically enabled while creating the workspace here itself. If you go to workspace settings also, let me go to this workspace, click on this more option, workspace settings. See here, while selecting the license here itself at the last, there is an option called as large semantic model. Default it is small, check it to large and click on apply. For us, we have already used premium and we are already using large semantic model. That is the reason we were able to see that option. Click on this semantic model, go to settings, get down, you'll get that option large semantic model. Now the one drawback here is you cannot call this as a drawback also. If I again go to the workspace, click on this report, assume that you are one of the developer working in a team and you have published this report. So some other user wants to download this report. There is an option called as download this file. If you go to this report option in the ribbon bar in the Power BI service, you'll get this file option. Click on this download this file. See here it is prompting you two options, a copy of your report and data which is grayed out, a copy of your report with a live connection. If you download this second option, a report would be downloaded as live connection data, not with the import model data. Now, why is it so we are not able to download? We should have got this first option, which is grayed out. Now that option is somewhere related to your large semantic model. Go to the workspace again, hover on this semantic model, go to settings, come down. You have an option. You can off this, click on apply. Once you of this large semantic model, you can download that report. That means the report is very large. Power BI itself is assuming that the report is large. Even though report is small, it will assume that the report is large and you cannot download it via import mode. Now I have made it off. I'll come down to the report again, click on file, download this file. Let me refresh this. Sometimes it takes time to get the updated option enabled. I have refreshed this, click on download. See, this option is enabled. A copy of your report and data. So it is always recommended to download this way. Whenever a certain person has published that report and you want to access that report in your desktop, go to file, click on download this file. If the first option is not enabled, that means either you do not have access to download or else a large semantic model is enabled. Now, that is one drawback of a large semantic model. You cannot call it as a drawback. It's one disadvantage for downloading a report. It is assuming that the report is very large. The semantic model is very large. That is the reason it is not giving you the option for import download. It is giving you option for live connection only. Once you keep that off, you can download it. And the question is, can I revert it back to the large workspace, the large semantic model? Yes. Go to settings. Again, scroll down, large semantic model, keep it off, click on apply. Changes would be automatically applied to the large semantic model. Now, let this be done. Okay, let me go to this workspace. See, once you're in the workspace, you can manually refresh this report. There is an option called as manual refresh. There is an option called as schedule refresh. We have already kept this schedule refresh. Now, how do I make sure this there is a schedule refresh enabled? See, here you can see this report was refreshed at 12:14 and the next refresh is at 12:30 a.m. So whatever time we have set up for the schedule refresh, you can get that time here in the next refresh. The semantic model, the data set will automatically refresh. So if I refresh it manually, here it is also, there is an option called as manual refresh. I'll click here. See, it is refreshing. Some dots are coming here. It will automatically refresh. This is manual refresh. If I click on this refresh now, this is manual refresh. Whereas if you set up a refresh using the settings option, go to semantic, get the installed gateway and then set up the refresh, that is automatic refresh. Now you can see it manually refreshed at 12:25. So it will automatically refresh at 12:30. Let's wait for 5 minutes. You'll get an idea. Now in this video, we are also going to discuss about usage metrics. Now, what do you mean by usage metrics? Now we know that we have published a report. We are uh, developing, we are scheduling that refresh. I mean, we are scheduling the refresh for that report for that specific data set, and we are giving access to multiple people in our team. Now, how do we make sure that report is viewed by how many users? I want to count how many users have consumed my report. How is it possible? See, in the workspace, you are in the workspace option. Hover on this report, you'll get more options. Here, there is an option called as view usage metrics. Now, this automatically creates some usage metrics. How many people have consumed this report, you'll get an idea. Once it is done, view usage metrics. See here itself, you can see how many people have viewed this report. Now, for our report, I'm the only user. I am the developer. I myself have published it. That is the reason I'm not able to see my name. Now, if I go down, let me go to some other workspace where the multiple reports are published. Okay, now I will come down. Let me see. Is there a report? Yeah, there is a report. Click on this usage metrics. So it will create automatically usage metrics. Now here you can see how many people have used or how many people have viewed my report. Views per day, unique viewers per day, total viewers, total view rank, how many reports are there in your organization, how many people have viewed it, their name, everything is mentioned here. So this is automatically calculated. Now you can see there is an option. There are two pages in this report. In this page, these many people have visited. Total 366 views and unique viewers are or total 16 viewers are there. On this page, if I uncheck this was the complete report level. If I check on this page, these many people have viewed this page. So on page level also, you can see how many people have visited that specific page in Power BI service. Now, whenever a usage matrix is created, this is created in the default manner. This is the default or the older version. Now there is an option called as new usage metrics, new usage report off. Now I should keep it on. It will automatically change the view. A new report like structure would be created. See here, you can see it has created the usage report of this specific workspace. Complete workspace, how many reports are there? You will get all that reports and all that statistics, report usage statistics are mentioned here. Daily report opens, weekly report opens. What is the report performance? See, what is the report performance? How many reports are there? If we go to this report list, there are 6 reports in my workspace. All that report usage statistics is viewed here. So it has automatically created, the Power BI service has automatically created the usage metrics with this new usage metrics report on. So you can keep this, you can save it as a copy. If I save it as a copy, it will be saved as a new report. Now, if I uncheck this option, this is only view option. You cannot save this. Okay, we have an option. We can save this copy also. But the thing is, if you save this would be saved as a new report. This new toggle option you will get here, new usage report on, you will get this option here. How many people have logged in via powerbi.com, via other services, report performance, report list, all this information is captured. Now, if I go back to the default view, here only that specific report is calculated. In the older version, only how many people have viewed that report, that specific report which we are using for the usage metrics, only that is captured. But if I change it to the new toggle view, in the new toggle view, all the reports in that workspace would come into picture. There are 6 reports. All that 6 reports views are calculated. But if I change it back to the older version, only for which report you are using usage metrics, only for that report you can see. Only in this report, there are 2 pages. You can see only this report views are there, not other reports in this workspace. There are multiple reports. If I come down, there are multiple reports in this workspace, but only for which report you are using usage metrics in that older version, that is possible. But if I change it to the newer version, the toggle option, all the reports in that workspace would be getting here. Now this is usage metrics. Now let's see. Let me go back to our workspace. This is our workspace. See here, you can see this report refreshed on 26th of March at 12:30. We haven't manually refreshed it. We have set up a scheduled refresh. Automatically it has refreshed, and you can see it was scheduled on daily basis. On next day at 27th of March, it will automatically refresh at 12:30 a.m. Yep. So we have discussed how to auto refresh a report, need of gateway and setup process, schedule refresh any report, how to schedule refresh it, what all options are there. We have seen large semantic model. There are few more options which we would be saying in the further videos, and we have also seen usage metrics. Yep, that's it. Thank you.